All right, Kenny, let's move on. What do you got here?
Yeah, Matty O from YouTube. And Matty, we appreciate the kind words. He says, best wishes to the XFL and XFL Chalk Talk as we approach kickoff. I believe this league will be successful considering the foundation cultivated before launch. But what is it going to take to grow the league so the Carolinas can get another professional football team?
There you go.
And in parentheses,
We're with you, Matty.
And in parentheses, he says, I'm not bitter about the Panthers or anything. Just saying. Sounds like you're a little bitter, Matty.
Sounds a little bitter.
Can I start on this one? Because Brandon and I were talking about this on the way here. I think the constant media coverage is what's really going to grow this league.
I agree.
The ability to be featured on SportsCenter, you're front and center.
And ESPN is all in, man.
And they're all in on the XFL. So
in.
it builds credibility for that median fan, right? That like, hey, I could watch an NBA game like of the Hornets versus the Pelicans, or like the Hornets versus Spurs, or I can tune over and watch some football that's actually that is also on ESPN, and I know that those highlights are going to be there, and they're really going to make a big deal out of it. I think as the continued media hype keeps going from
100%,
ESPN and
100%.
ABC and all the partners, that's what's going to be vital to this league's success, and to give it that credibility that other leagues have never had.
Credibility and exposure, too.
Yeah.
Like, just getting those names out there on ESPN, or people are going to follow them more.
I mean, you've got Adam Schefter tweeting about XFL stuff right now.
It's unbelievable. It does instrumental,
that's
just
big time
progress for
stuff.
the league.
And you're going
It's
to get those
unbelievable.
haters, like with the stupid memes. Nobody cares. People care,
Yeah.
and it's building. I mean,
People
they are
will
so
care
far.
if ESPN tells them they care. Let's be honest with you.
It's true.
Right? Brandon, you made the point, UFC.
Yeah,
Right? Go on your point. I thought it was a really good point.
It's a quick point, though. I feel like UFC was at a high point maybe 10 years ago, right? And then it kind of slowly went downhill, maybe because of the lack of fighters, besides maybe Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey.
Right.
But as soon as ESPN picked up UFC, I started watching it more. I feel like it kind of made
It's
UFC
just
a
like
little
that
bit more.
natural
More,
sports channel
Yeah.
that
It
people
is.
go to.
Yeah.
And, I know their numbers have declined over the years because there's so, FS1, other channels
Yeah.
are picking up their content in terms of sports.
Yeah.
But they're still by far and away the king.
Yeah.
So if you have ESPN backing you 100%, I mean, there was a tweet that came out earlier this week that said reports are that ESPN is all in on the XFL.
Nice.
I mean, that's
That's what they
big time
should be.
stuff.
That's
and
huge.
that means like programming, like studio shows,
Yep.
highlights on SportsCenter.
Behind the
Highlights on
scenes
No,
SportsCenter.
Yeah.
no
Yep.
other
Original program, all
alternative
that kind of
leagues
stuff.
have gotten that in the past.
Yeah.
No.
The first XFL definitely didn't.
No.
The AAF, that maybe if it was a great play, it was in the top 10 or something, but there was no extensive coverage
Yeah.
of the AAF.
Absolutely.
Like this setup, having ESPN and their personalities like Adam Schefter, their funding, just their reach in general.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so big time.
Yeah, my question though is like the product on the field, right? I think 8 teams is a good number right now,
Yeah.
just because the available players that
Yeah.
we have out there. Once you start extending it to 10, 12, 14 teams, how many more players
You lose that depth.
are
Yeah.
out there? So it's really
It's
the
actually a
depth
really good
portion.
point. Yeah, I
so
guess I
I
never
think
really
8 teams
thought
is a
about that.
great start. I can't see it getting more than 10 in the future, just because of the
At least
amount
for the
of
first
players.
couple years,
At least
yeah.
for-
Yeah, you don't want to spread yourself too thin.
Right.
That's for sure.
You want to have quality product on
Yeah.
the field, which is what the XFL is going to have this year. But when do they expand?
Yeah. And Matty, if you want a team in the Carolinas, you guys have to watch. Like, if you don't
That's
think
right.
regional TV ratings is going to play a big deal on where they're
Oh,
going to
for
expand to next, like they're going to look at where they're getting the most viewership and say that's where we need to go.
Especially since they obviously are looking at larger markets. So if you're in a smaller market, your chances
Gotta
aren't
watch.
great. So you have to have those ratings. You have to have the attendance. So if they look at like NFL teams and they're not supporting that NFL team, why would they bring?
An XFL
Agreed.
team.
I think a good model to look at is if you look at Atlanta and what they've done with the MLS soccer team down there. It's unbelievable the kind of numbers
Yeah,
that.
they
But
sell
the Legends
they
were a
sell out.
disaster.
The
man. The Legends were a disaster.
were a disaster, but the MLS team was unbelievable.
Did
The
they
kind
win
of
the
numbers.
championship?
Yeah, I think so.
No, the Sounders won it. The Seattle team won it.
They were good. They were good.
They
this
were
year.
good,
Yeah.
but the Atlanta franchise brings in unbelievable TV viewers, and they are in love with that team. So to Kenny's point, when we talk about regional affiliation and just a buzz around the team in the area, like that's a really good model to look at.
Yeah.
So to your point, you want a team in Charlotte, like Charlotte's got to rally around the franchise, right?
Yep.
Or they're going to go to Boston
bet they
because
will,
Boston's
though.
going to get the eyeballs.
I bet they will.
Yeah. It's good, yeah.
All
Very
right,
well.
Pastel, what do you got?
Yeah, 2020 hindsight on Twitter. rules, season predictions, best XFL football players, league innovations, like the simultaneous audio for offensive players.
That's a lot to take in.
That's a
so I think
lot.
season predictions we'll do separate segment as
Yeah.
we get closer to the season. Rules we've already covered. Let's talk about the league innovations part, man. Like we mentioned that earlier, right? With the audio,
Headset,
like
yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be very stressful making sure it all works properly. I hope that they've been doing ample
They had
testing.
to have tested it at this
right.
point, right?
But it's so necessary with the.
I'd
play
imagine
clock,
they have
right?
it live in minicamp right now.
Yeah.
Like I'd imagine they all have.
That'd be awesome, like listen to, right? Like as
Yeah.
a fan, like oh my goodness, you get
Like,
that.
what if it was like NASCAR, where
That'd
you
be
can have like a
Yes.
scanner?
That would
Yes.
be
That would be
sick.
so
God.
sick.
That would be sick.
That's the biggest reason I like going to NASCAR. Well, other than tailgating.
Right.
If you had that with
We
an
all love
XFL
it.
app, like you're doing live betting, you got that in your ears, man. It'd be a fun event to go to. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Plus,
wonder how that
you're a
would
pretty
work.
big fan of the
I
simultaneous
am, because I'm a
audio.
defensive guy,
Yeah.
right? Like if offenses are moving in or out, or if it's 2-minute, for like to call a defense out there and make sure that communication is straight. Like there's multiple kind of centers of communication out there, whether it's multiple assistant coaches, whether it's the linebacker who's getting the call and he's trying to tell all the other 10 guys. I think it's very difficult, and you have a lot of other stuff going on. The offense is on the ball, so it creates a very reactionary environment.
Yeah.
So I think if you have the defensive coordinator or a coach who's designated that is just talking in your ear, I think it just makes it a lot easier for communication to get all set and ready to go.
Well, speaking of the ball,
That's why I really like
You picked
it.
up an XFL football, right? That was a league innovation that.
Yeah, the
And I
ball's
love
great.
it, man. Just by, I didn't really get a chance to throw it too much, but just by the grip. They're just trying to make, you see by the rules, by the, things that they've implemented in terms of gameplay. They just want to set their players up for
Yeah.
success.
Yeah.
And this ball is, it's one of
You get a
those
good grip
aspects.
on it?
You get a really good grip on it.
Yeah.
With NFL balls, sometimes, like, I struggle with the grip, especially if they're wet.
Slippery, yeah.
And then the first XFL ball, we all know about that. If you watch the ESPN documentary,
Yeah.
like it became a rock if it got wet. That is not the case here. Like the grip is so good on it. The laces, I love the laces. It's not like over the top grip where like everyone's going to catch everything, but it definitely, I think, is going to enhance.
So in wet weather, we're pretty much not going to see a bad product on the field.
Exactly. I think, because I think they took that into account, right?
Yeah, they
Like
have to.
DC, New York, Seattle, like they know that, we could have some rough weather
Yeah.
for like February and maybe some of March. So
think
like we got to.
And that's a good point. Cold weather, like that's a ball. That's
The ball
harder.
becomes slick.
Right.
Right. Calling it very slick.
So
right.
you
That's
have
why
more grip
everybody's
on it. It's
Well,
gonna be
wears all
Yeah.
these gloves that are basically like
glue.
glue.
The way that they made the ball, it's
Yeah.
it's much tighter of a spiral. The X is on the tips,
Help
so
you follow it,
receivers and
yeah.
DBs
Track
can
it.
locate it better.
It's what I think's so cool about it is if you look kind of a little bit, for context, you look a little bit back in history. Like you look at the ABA, right? Like the ABA had the
white,
tricolored
yeah,
ball,
white, red,
which was
blue.
fun that
Yeah.
people liked. It wasn't gimmicky because it was still a basketball.
Yeah.
Well, this
Right.
ball looks sharp.
But-
man. there's no
but-
gimmick about it. It looks good.
Right, but that's what I mean is it's just another branding point more than anything, right? Because, a football is a football. I don't know how much you can do to really impact the game from a football, even though the innovations that do, I think, are really solid.
Yeah.
But from a branding standpoint, it makes it look a lot different than what we're used to seeing in football.
Absolutely.
Right? So
Yeah.
it's just that other brand point in your head of, oh, that's an XFL football, right? It's another impression. So that's what I think is genius about it.
I'll say this: season predictions, probably not what you were thinking. Hindsight 2020, but I bet the NFL adapts at least 3 rules that the XFL has into the next
good
year's.
prediction. I
You
like
think so? That quickly?
I bet the kickoff, the special teams rule.
Yep.
One, they have to relook the overtime rule. Like that is.
yeah, I agree.
It's just not fun.
I don't know if they'll go to this.
Maybe not
But
this.
it could-
it's
it
gonna
could
be a
force them to
factor
change
into
it.
them changing their rules, and then not to mention just the less stall, more ball mentality. Maybe not to a 25-second clock, but I bet they do something to implement ways for people to watch a faster football game than a slower game.
Yeah.
I agree.
Good prediction.
What's up, football fans? Visit XFLChalkTalk.com to get the latest analysis, discussions, interviews, and news from around the league. You can also sign up for our email list so you can receive notifications on when content is posted focused on your favorite XFL team.